the only other question I really had, and I think I kind of know the answer, but I really wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Armored Core.
Hell yeah.
We haven't heard basically anything, and I'm a big Gundam fan, and being a Gundam fan in the U.S. is, especially for video games, has been pretty awful because, I mean, we just got Gundam Battle Operation 2 on PlayStation 4, able to play for free, but that's really like the only content we get drip fed maybe like once every like 5 to 10 years. So there's a big drought of mech games.
That Gundam game that you just mentioned, is that like the online multiplayer one?
Yeah, so
like
it's set up in a really interesting way, especially because it uses the engine from, I think it was called like the Crossfire engine from that really, really terrible PS3 Gundam game that came to the States a while ago. But it is surprisingly fun, has a huge community, but Armored Core is really kind of more the speed.
The thing about the game that's always interesting to me was like it's a huge hit in Japanese arcades, right? It's like huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
And it's like it is the reason like games like Budokai and stuff like changed their camera setup, right? And like Bandai Namco heavily invested in that multiplayer online game that just crashed and burned immediately a couple of years ago. Like I feel like it's like super influential on Japanese fighting games like Jump Force and stuff like that. But it's like we don't even know about the starting line with Gundam. You know what I mean? It's so wild to me that just came out in America.
What?
Yeah, especially with like them building the walking Gundam now. That's like for the 2020 Olympics, and it's mostly complete at this point. It's like it's such a big cultural touch point for Japan that I'm kind of amazed that there isn't more stuff like that coming to the U.S. Even though mecha stuff has seen like more of a resurgence in the past few years, like Pacific Rim and stuff like that.
Yeah, hang on, slow your roll there. They built a walking Gundam.
Yeah, so it's actually anchored in the back, but they actually built a hangar around it, and it can fully move. I think it's in Yokohama.
Go up and down, and they slide it forward, right?
Oh, hang on. I mean, I've seen the one in Japan. Like I visited that one with Surreal.
So there was the ones that were, I believe it was in Odaiba.
Yeah, the life-size one. That's one
statues.
I saw. Yep.
Yeah. So if you actually look it up right now on the Gundam Reddit, people have been posting about it all the time. A bunch of rage of people calling it a transformer, but it's basically a working, movable, walking model. But obviously, it can't move off of its base. It's like anchored through its back.
Right.
But it's a 1:1 scale, so it's like 18 meters tall.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it can move around, and I guess I just find it kind of weird that it's so big. Mech stuff is so big, and we just don't get any of that here in the U.S.
Yeah, well, I mean, Armored Core, it's a From game, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's right there. It's
right there, but it's also so far away.
It really is.
Why would they do anything but the thing that they're now known for? You know what I mean?
Probably because they want to shake it up. I mean, I visited From twice, and they're big on constantly trying to reinvent themselves. A lot of the messaging around Sekiro was, we interviewed Miyazaki, and he's like, we don't want to beat a dead horse. Like, we want to stay creative. We want to stay surprising. We could be on Dark Souls 7 right now if we really wanted to. Like, that team can crank stuff out. They have a history of doing that, but they want to reinvent things. And Sekiro was a bit of a shakeup, but maybe it's just too obvious. They've had discussions about it. Like, hey, Dark Souls formula with your other most popular franchise, Armored Core. But it has to happen at some point, right? I mean, that was Miyazaki's first game. He has to be emotionally attached to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the last Armored Core release, I believe it was on 360 and PS3. So like, it's been a while before, since any of that's kind of trickled out.
I feel like another developer could take it up and the trailer could say the franchise created by the makers of Dark Souls. We have to clean that language up a little bit. But I mean, you could totally do that,
Would you be okay with that? Would you be okay if they Dark Soulized Armored Core's gameplay, or do you want the last gameplay of the last Armored Core game just to come back?
I think it does need a bit of an update, and that's the weird part about all mecha games, even like Titanfall 2 and stuff like that. They all kind of have their own different kind of control scheme and like the weight of how everything feels and the movement. Yeah. And so it's such a wide range that like I think that could work, at least like a lock-on system similar to the Souls series, or like a simplified kind of face button type of control scheme. But I don't know. I would prefer an update instead of just going right back. But I think it would it could work. It'd be a little confusing.
Yeah, I love those first games on the PlayStation. I didn't play too much. I might have played a little bit of Armored Core on the PS2. I think that was just maybe a demo and stuff like that, but I kind of trailed off. But I have so much, nostalgia for those early games. I think everybody does. You combine that with the pedigree of From Software now, it's right there. But, they got to focus on this mysterious thing called Elden Ring that they say is in production, but we'll see.
Well, with George R. R. Martin's, how quickly he writes, who knows if we'll see that in the next 10 years.
Yeah, you're sounding like Jeffem now. We have faith that we'll see Elden Ring soon.
I hope.
Hey, what was the deal? Just to circle back around, wasn't there like a Gundam game from the last couple of years where you played as a toy Gundam?
Yeah, so it was the Gundam Breaker series, which they just brought it to the U.S. with New Gundam Breaker, which is kind of the least favorite of all the fans.
Yeah.
Just because they really cartoonified and gamified it in a lot of weird ways. But the cool part about that was you collect almost like Gunpla, the little plastic model kits they make.
Yeah.
They're a big moneymaker. They just like that, you collect parts and you can kind of custom create, like how you would in a garage in Armored Core, custom create your own suit.
Oh, that is
kind
fun.
of meshing everything together. And that's pretty fun, but they definitely made it much more targeted towards kids, which is kind of funny about a series that's mainly focusing on the atrocities of war.
Yeah, come on in, children. It's a wide open door. Cheap Salsa,
Exactly.
Thanks for calling into MinnMax. It's wonderful to have somebody who's laser locked on this fandom that we don't focus on enough. So thanks for your input, man. This was just a clip from MinnFax, which is our weekly Q&A for supporters on Patreon. Every Monday, we stream for what we call the High Council, and we answer any question they have about the game industry, our past, MinnMax's future. And on the last Sunday of every month, we actually have a call-in version of MinnFax. So check out patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns, and please give it a shot. Thanks so much.